So, as usual, Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers is complaining about stuff. But I will say he did bring up a legitimate point. Unfortunately, this video completely negated everything that he might have brought up. But the problem is the way he went about tackling this thing is, as usual, the worst possible way and does not make any sense, is actually false. But let's hear him speak about the alleged gay problem panic.
Franchise after franchise after franchise, whether it's Star Wars, Ghostbusters, Star Trek, Doctor Who, the list goes on and on. Marvel, DC, they have ruined everything and they're going to continue to ruin anything in their path.
Well, for one thing, this is just false. I saw Black Adam. Was Black Adam gay? No. I saw the Batman. Was Batman gay? No. There have been a lot of characters that have been ruined by, quote, Hollywood. But were they ruined by a, quote, liberal agenda? I mean, I think of Transformers. Does that follow a liberal agenda? No. Do I think the characters are ruined? Compared to the early versions in the cartoon, I think so. Okay, so empirically, this is false. But maybe Jeremy is going to provide us with an actual example that will verify his conspiracy fears. And nope, he chooses probably the worst example of all time to, quote, vindicate that gender and race don't matter in comics or films or even cartoons.
Actually a normal person, so I don't really define everything off race and gender and all of that. But now at this point in time, when everything is weaponized in terms of race and all of that and diversity, look at X-Men, the animated series. Look at X-Men in general. X-Men, look at the comics. Look at the animated series. Look at it all. Diverse. It's got incredible diversity. Now, again, that was nothing that we thought was a benefit back then. Because why? Because those characters were created for the right reasons. It didn't matter what color they were. It didn't matter what gender they were. It didn't matter any of these things. All that.
Where to even begin with this? Clearly, Jeremy doesn't know the X-Men comics, so he's just being insultingly stupid towards the X-Men fandom that has read the comics, because you're not making any sense at all. There are literally key issues as well as entire runs where they go into this about racial prejudice and bigotry and all these kinds of fears and phobias that the majority have against minorities. That's literally central to many X-Men stories. So clearly you're a fake fan regarding the comics. But let's get to the animated series. Well, you're wrong there too. It's stated very clearly and canonically that Magneto is a Jewish boy who was terrorized by the Nazis much earlier in his life. And we even get a little bit of Charles and him after the war and how Magneto just became very pessimistic, became very, very disillusioned with becoming peaceful with human beings. So there, being a Jewish man is central to his character. That's central. That's not something you can just get rid of. So if you try to reimagine Magneto as a Chinese kid in Australia and say he was terrorized by the Nazis too, it wouldn't make any sense. So the specific gender and identity and sexuality and race of some characters is very vital. It's not something arbitrary. It's vital. It's vital that Wolverine went to Japan. It's vital that Storm is black. It's vital in these many cases that the character has a specific identity. So you're not making any sense at all, especially with the X-Men.
Children, be quiet! When I was a boy, I saw men executed, women and children. Each night I swore to myself, never again.
Where the running theme is racial bigotry and their whole struggle to be accepted by, quote, other normal people. They even get into the gender politics with Rogue specifically, like her being a woman and not being able to touch anyone, especially men, for romantic purposes. That's central to many stories. So I have no idea what the fuck you're babbling about. Clearly, if you have seen these cartoons, you saw them at the most superficial, stupid level. Like, see, they're the X-Men now. They fight Magneto. They fight Apocalypto. They have the battles. They be good. The other ones be bad. Well, yeah, that's definitely what happened in a lot of stories. But there's a much deeper subtext, which was not even that well hidden. It was very explicit. You have a whole story with Genosha, which is pretty obviously an allegory for South Africa. You literally have the mutants being enslaved by evil white people. I don't even know what to do with this. This is just him being stupid. But I will say this. Yes, there is something wrong and alarming if writers in, quote, Hollywood are concentrating on making Optimus Prime or Spider-Man or Batman gay. If that's what's on their mind, then I agree. That's a really distorted viewpoint and is not something they should be that focused on, because that's pretty silly and stupid. However, to say it's a liberal agenda ruining everything, well, I'm a little bit scared what will happen with Transformers, because Michael Bay has not exactly obeyed the canon. However, I'm going to be open-minded. Maybe he's going to constrain his right-wing politics and put out a good film with Rise of the Beasts. I'm hopeful. So yes, some characters could be ruined by Hollywood, but not a liberal agenda. They can also be ruined by a liberal agenda too. That's also true. However, you haven't provided almost any strong evidence in this video, at least. All you provided again is your insane ignorance of the quote properties you claim to speak on. In terms of the X-Men, I can't think of an organization that Wolverine would probably destroy in 2 seconds than Geeks and Gamers. He would probably literally come to your house and beat you the fuck up for being a racist, stupid bigot. Like, Wolverine would literally do that if he existed in real life. There we go. That's Jeremiah thinking that him and Logan are somehow on the same side of, quote, the race and gender question. What a fucking moron.